Let's see. And it looks like we are live again on another Friday night. Welcome to From Bank to Boat with Stan and Creole. And our special guest tonight, Miss Laura the Explora with an X. For those of all that saw that before I changed it. My mind works. I saw this thing on Facebook the other day where it had purposely misspelled words, the entire paragraph. And literally, I read the whole thing like with no, because my mind saw the letters and it put the correct spelling in my head. So I saw Explorer, the E was in it. But anyways, so we're gonna do like
we'll let it go this time. We'll let it go this time. That's a warning.
I went back and changed it. Although I took the E out of all of it.
I love it.
All right, so I can't scroll all the way back up, but I know we had Avid in here about an hour ago. We had
Avid was here first. That's
right. That's right. At downtown, Ernie Brown was in there with him. We got I'll go back up as far as I can. Robert James, John Boy's Catfishing, great video he put out the other day on how to skin a catfish. If you haven't seen that and you want some information on that, that's good old school way that he does it there. Mike Irvin.
Tacos.
There you go. Let's see, hooks and hammocks. How you seeing anybody, Creole?
I see Ernie Brown. I see Miss Sharina is in the house. I see Jason Lamb. I see Sogo is with us this evening. Let's see who else we got. Seeing Ernie's name is Miss Chrissy Brown. I see her up in chat. Listen, I think I called up to where you were. I see you in chat. Hey, Stan.
Yeah.
Georgia Fisherman, John Boy. See, yep, hooks and hammocks. Fishing Chick is with us. We got a good little crowd tonight, Stan. Mike G,
yeah.
Mike Greenwell.
George Fisher,
brother.
Mike Greenwell. There's Jason Lamb, you said. I think we're almost caught up.
LG Bass, what's happening, Tom?
LG Bass.
Yes, there's my Virginia brother, LG. Man, oh, man.
Dave Garcher, I see him in chat. I see Betty. What's happening, Betty?
Betty and Brandon been catching some nice looking crappie.
I know.
When you're filling up,
Palmetto hanging with us.
They got that. What the heck do you call it? The checker.
The little thing you stick them in to measure them. Yeah.
Yeah. When you're filling that thing, you know you're catching some nice crappie.
Yep, that's some good ones. Let's see. I see Mr. Parker is with us this evening. I see Aaron with Catfish Regulators.
There he is. There's Aaron.
Let's see. I think I'm just about. I see Mr. Mike Kaufman. What's happening?
Kevin Palmetto.
Rex Blocker.
It's not Sharina with her big Sharina with her big carp.
Yeah, she's been catching some fish. Oh, Ryan Bortz is in the house.
Ryan Bortz, Mr. Second Place himself.
Anyways, all right. JP3, what's up? What's up? We're going to get going. I'm sorry if we missed you. I'm sure we'll catch you through the thing. Eddie Grove's great. Yeah. So as y'all can see, our guest tonight, the wonderful Miss Laura the Explora. So you go by Laura or Lori? Was the Laura just for the name or?
Yeah, the Laura was just a name. Lori and Lori Ann. I started out with the Lori Ann, but Lori is my name. Yeah. Laura the Explorer came from, actually, it was a fun adventure. I'm always out exploring. I've been doing that for many, many years. So my Facebook is full of all these photos and albums, and I always shared all my explorations with my friends and my family and everything. And but it was kind of funny because I was just out scouting fishing spots, and actually it was Michael who had said one day, you're Laura, I'm going to start calling you Dora the Explorer. And I said, well, actually it's Laura the Explorer. And then we came up with, and then I just came up with the fancy spelling, which apparently threw Stan off.
Yeah, you got him on that one.
Yeah. And I even knew it was with an X. It was right there in front of me, but oh man.
Well, being we're talking about so your channel, I've watched a lot of your stuff. really go see some cool things. It seems you've got the catfishing side, and then you've got the exploring side. So is this, so in the future, you plan on this being like a half and half to show us both, or do you see yourself leaning one way or the other with your channel?
I think that's an excellent question. And what happened was my channel is actually 11 years old. And initially I was into hiking, backpacking. You'll see I've recently just started to put some of that back up. I was kind of going through archives and putting that back up. And that's really been my go-to, is the hiking and the backpacking and all of that, with the exploring and all of that. So at one time I had all those videos and whatnot up there, and then things happened in life. The divorce happened, and I started to take those things down. And I only left summit videos up, and I never did anything like this at all with my YouTube. I was never had, I just shared out my link with family and stuff. So this is all new, but yeah, for me, that's where Laura the Explora just comes in perfect for me, because it encompasses everything. So I love the mountain biking. I was in New Hampshire, is where I'm from. So I did bass fishing, trout fishing, not on the regular. I never did. I'm a funny kind of person like that. I'm never on a regular about anything. I'll do something for a little while, and then I drop it, and then I move on, and I go to something else.
And there's nothing wrong with that, So you kind of hit a little binge of something you really like to do, hit that hard for a while, then put that to the side, and then move on to the next adventure. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, it was always about the hiking and the backpacking, and then and the mountain biking and cycling was always in there. Then it went into, I started to kayak. Well, my husband really didn't enjoy the kayaking, but that's okay. He was cycling and I was kayaking. Yeah, there you go. We still did the hiking. And then once that divorce happened, I was in a place where I was just like, I love doing this stuff. And so what do I do now? I'm not doing it with him, 10 years. But I just decided I've got to just do this. So it became a solo mission. So I started solo hiking, cycling, mountain biking, kayaking. And so it's
we've seen you do a little bow shooting in there too. We've seen some of the bow.
Yeah, I explored the hunting side of things for a while in New Hampshire. I would not say I was ever a bow hunter. I did go in the woods with my bow, but I never did get anything with it. So but coming down here, it was nice to have, and that was my first outlet here, was finding my archery range. That was the first thing. It was a struggle down here. It's just they don't have them down here like they do in New Hampshire. So but once I found the archery range, that was my first initial outlet, was to be able to go there and just shoot at the targets and stuff.
I had a little bit of that coming from upstate New York, coming to down here to Virginia, because I'm kind of close to, I'm like 5 minutes outside of Richmond, and where we lived up in New York was 5 minutes outside of nowhere. It was a half hour to go get milk, but you could pull up to any river, lake. We lived right on a lake. There was fishing spots everywhere. There was thousands of acres of state land 5 minutes from my house. There was the bow ranges,
rifle ranges.
Yep. So you get closer to inhabitation where there's people, and you don't have as much of those outdoor activities. You got to kind of go find them, and
you have to go find them, and that's where I'm at now, is finding them. So it's been a struggle. I mean, just like you just said, exactly. I mean, I lived right close to a place that they call it Bear Brook State Park. So that's where we did the mountain biking, fly fishing, hiking. It was all like right there. The archery was right there. There was an archery range. There was a fly fishing pond, and doing just that, and just in that one park. But I mean, legitimately walking out the back door, you're in the woods. You go down to a brook. You go to a river. You can actually fish at without worrying about getting eaten by the alligators or bitten by poisonous snakes. So, yeah.
Exactly. Now, being that you enjoy archery and you also enjoy fishing, ever put any thought into bow fishing?
I've seen that. I have seen that done. Yeah, I think I'd want to be in a boat for that probably, but no, it hadn't crossed my mind here to do that. But
It is a lot of fun. I do highly recommend it. And you'd be surprised how many people do it off the bank. As long as you can get up on a ledge where you're high looking down, you'd be surprised how many people do it from a bank.
Well, I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. There's not too much high out here. It's pretty,
not like about like me. Everything's flat.
Flat and muddy waters. We have muddy waters here, so it's not like in New Hampshire. Up in New Hampshire or in the mountains, they're crystal clear waters. I mean, but here it's different. It's a whole different thing.
Well, and since we're talking about going to a different spot, and we're talking about bow fishing, things like that. Always a good idea if you go to someplace new, check the regulations out for that area, because there, some states you can do it, some states you can't, some states you're only allowed certain species, some states you can't bow, some states in trout stocked waters you can't do anything. So always check your regulations if you're going to someplace new. And even if it's a place that you normally go to, they change them yearly. Regulations change so quickly that I always try to check it every now and then.
Year by year, some things tend to change. You always have to kind of keep that in mind, and don't assume because something was legal 10 years ago that it's still legal now. Things change all the time.
Yeah, in New Hampshire with the hunting, it changed all the time, and you had to watch it, and where you had different town lines. I mean, just crossing over a town line or one side of the highway versus the other. You could do something on this side of the highway, but don't do it on that side of the highway.
That's right.
Be careful.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point. Let's see. We had some more people come in. We're up to 40 wonderful amazing people there.
The Chad is in.
The Chad.
Great to see you, the Chad. We got Ohioan for Life 42. Gingers. Matt is in the house.
Gingers unite.
Sunfish Assassin. Man. Fins and Fines. I'll say Sharina again just because we love her so much. Let's see.
I know I saw somebody else come in that we missed, and I cannot find the name. Please forgive me because I cannot find your name. John Boy, I know I said hi to him. I'm going to say hi to him again. He is my boy representing the northern part of Louisiana. He is holding down the Monroe area.
I saw Mike Irvin in there earlier. I don't know if you mentioned him.
Who's that?
Mike Irvin. I was trying to roll through some of the
That's who I'm. Mike Irvin. There you go. That's who I missed.
Jay Fox Hunter just came in. Great to see you, Jay.
Big Hook. What's going on, brother?
California. Great to see you.
So I do have another question about the exploring part of your channel. Around in our area, and I think a lot of other areas too, people get really big into going exploring, not just in the wilderness, but they like to explore abandoned places, abandoned buildings, abandoned. I see that smile on your face. That's you like that too, don't you?
Yes.
So what are some of the really cool places, cool things that you have walked up upon in your travels? What's some of the coolest things that you've seen?
Oh my goodness. I mean, a lot of times I have to search them out. Other times, like walking through the woods, and that was great about the hunting, is the stuff that you could just come up upon. And I do want to say before I go on to this, just so that everybody in chat knows, I cannot see your comments. So please don't feel like I'm ignoring you. I'm just not reading comments tonight. So
if I see one out there, a direct question for you, I'm going to pop it up on the screen.
Yeah, Stan will pop it up on screen for you, where you can read it.
So I tend to, in New Hampshire, I would focus on certain things at certain times. So there might be a time where I want to look at train depots. There was one, it's called the Maplewood Depot, and it was up north in New Hampshire, and the train tracks were still there, but the depot itself was just all dilapidated and buried really in the woods, but so so cool.
And I love the fact that your mother gave her opinion on it.
Yeah, my mother, she's a hoot.
Tranquil.
Yeah, my mom's a real hoot. She's you know, and I'm so blessed every day. She's been obviously my biggest supporter, my biggest fan all of the time. And part of sharing so many things that I do was because of her, because I was away from her. She moved from New Hampshire down here with my brother, and my sister actually was down here for a while. So for 10 years, that's what we had. She liked to follow my adventures. So no, I don't have a metal detector, but that would be very cool. And I could use that quite often out on the beaches and whatnot here. Definitely. I'm not sure if you need a license for that here. I know in some areas you do. I think.
Really?
I think you do in some areas.
I think it depends on where you're doing it at. Like historical sites, if it's deemed a certain area, you're not allowed, or you got to get written permission, things like that.
You got to have permits and things like that, depending on where you are.
That's a great point.
Could you imagine what I'd find down here on the beaches of Myrtle Beach and with a metal detector? Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Gotta say hello to Lyle, Catfish Weekly.
Lyle,
and
happening, brother?
And Panfish Nation jumping in here with us. Great to see you as always, Lyle.
Abandoned coal mines. I would think the abandoned coal mines would be extremely dangerous.
Well,
yeah, usually they block those off, but.
You see, not to JP3 though. You know he's West Virginia, so he has a little bit of experience in coal mines.
Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting about that. We don't have mines for anything in my area. If you dig more than 10 feet of the ground, you're in the water.
I was gonna say you can't even do. New Orleans, you can't even bury people. You have to do that's where the crypts come from.
Exactly.
It's below sea level, so you actually have to bury people above ground. So
that's scary.
Have you ever been to see that? We're speaking of spooky places, and have you been to see that, Creole?
Oh yeah.
In New Orleans, the crypts up above the.
Oh yeah. I've been to that many times.
And
I want to make my way down there at some point in time when it's not devastated, hopefully. It seems like for many years now, after year, some devastation comes through there.
That's why I'm glad I live like 3 hours north of all of that. Yeah, I don't live. I work right now. I work in New Orleans, but I live 3 hours north. So at least the hurricanes slow down a little bit by the time they get to me.
Yeah.
Wait, when the hurricanes make landfall, we got just enough time to go to the store to make one more liquor run before the power goes out. That's how far I live from the coast.
I think it's pretty much a requirement down there that you have to have drank a hurricane in a hurricane. That's especially the closer you get to New Orleans. That's pretty much a prerequisite to actually be in the city of New Orleans. But
it's just drink until the power comes back on.
I'm sorry, Ohioans comment there about the hospitals and abandoned places, and I have some of that actually, an old asylum.
Wow.
Again in New Hampshire, but I didn't get to tour the inside. But a girlfriend of mine was a dump truck driver, and she was part of the demolition of the asylum, and found all these old bottles, medicine bottles, and things that are really interesting.
That is cool.
Speaking of the abandoned places, I got a question about the hotel that you had visited in one of your earlier exploring videos, and
the Featherbed Motel.
Yeah, yes, that's a good one to go back and check out. Now you can see in that, you see that little shadow or whatever. Now I don't remember if we've talked about this before. Did you see that when you were there, or did you just catch it once you started going back and looking?
Yeah, and again, that was an exploration. My mother, she is brave, I'll tell you. I wouldn't go in there and be opening doors and stuff. There's so, and the people that stay in those places and stuff is kind of sketchy. But no, Mom, she's like opening doors, and I'm like, hello, snakes, black widows, whatever. She's walking through all the stuff. But that particular place was amazing that she was opening those doors, because that's where it was legitimately a family of cats. It was like the adult cat, and it looked like kittens, and they just died there together, and it was just skeletal remains. So that was creepy. But yeah, I was taking photos through the glass into that lobby area, and I was a good stretch away from where that shadow figure was. So it wasn't like a reflection of my shadow. It just couldn't have been. And I had taken the shot from another angle as well. So when I went back and looked through the photos, I saw that, and I was like, Mom, look at this. This looks like a shadow figure. It looks like a girl in a dress. And I said, and I'm trying to figure out, like, where would this reflect? It wouldn't. It doesn't look like a reflection. This looks like a legitimately solid shadow figure. It's creepy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, and you see and I'm not into that at all, but my wife is crazy for this stuff. I think Louisiana has more haunted places than any other state, and we're literally surrounded by them. They're all over around the house. And
so much history.
I'm good. Well, I know you've heard of the Myrtles Plantation. It's one of the most haunted houses in the country. It's an hour from my house.
Oh wow!
And I nope, I can't do that. But I mean, I know that the exploring and the history part, it's very interesting to me. And not many people know this about me, but I spent the better part of my career as a land surveyor, and we would go into the woods, following these old lines that were put down 150 years ago. And to go see the old scars and old marks in the trees that the surveyors left in the 1800s, that was always really cool to me. It's like I was literally walking in the footsteps of someone who was doing this, you can almost say 200 years ago.
Yeah, well,
I've always loved that kind of stuff.
I'm sure with Stan too, being in upstate New York, probably had the same thing with me in New Hampshire with the stone walls, and they did a lot of that, and you'd find actual markers that separated the towns, and there was a particular hike I always did that had one of those markers. I didn't know what it was for the longest time. It was a town line divider, but it was very, very cool. And to think that those people put that much effort into that.
That's right. And if you ever see any of those old markers, anything like that, take a picture of it, and you can message me, and I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you how, and probably I'll tell you how old it is too.
Yes, I have one.
Dan, if you're still out there, feel free to give me a call or whatever. I don't know what's going on, but even if it's right now during the show, Creole can do it. I just saw a comment out there from him. If you need to talk to me, feel free to give a call. I don't care. That'd be.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But we had some more people come in. Of course, we got our good friend, Mr. Epic Catfish. Tim Scott's in the house. Polar Bear said we had a place called Mudhouse Mansion here in town. They tore it down probably 10 years ago.
Oh, I love that icon.
Kind of matches the name, don't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I know, right?
Here's something that Creole and we were talking about before, but we got Fishing Frustrations in the house from joining us from across the big pond over there. Game time.
What's going on, brother?
Sunfish Sass, P City Smitty.
I see Mr. Catfish Heroes, the better half of the epic duo. Sean, what's going on, brother? Let's see who else. I know somebody else that I'm missing everybody tonight. Every time Dale Hayslip, what's going on, man? I don't know if I even said hi to you yet. Every time I go to look at somebody's name, the chat jumps on me.
Yeah, it goes fast.
It does.
I'm kind of glad I'm not watching it, so I can just pay attention.
when you see my eyes start rolling like a slot machine, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to keep up with everybody, and that's a good sign.
Yeah,
we got a good active chat. We got a good crowd. That's what I'm talking about.
I've definitely got to get the. That's one of the issues I have with just doing it on my phone. And thank you, heroes. Thank you. But just do it on my phone, and the chat over here, it's I can only see like 2 comments at a time, maybe 3. Right. So it just and they're gone. So it's a
Yeah.
constant stroll trying to catch everybody. But 12 gauge catfishing. That's Wandering Fisherman's son in the house. Great to see you.
All right, my brother.
I just saw
my
the
brother
question
Andrew.
mark. Let's see. Here we go. Got a question. Laura, do you find the excitement and chill of it all euphoric? I know I do. Something about the unknown.
That's one of my famous lines, is that it wouldn't be an adventure if we knew all the details of everything that was going to happen.
That's right.
And so to keep it adventurous, you want to, even with fishing, whatever it is, you don't always know it's going to end up on your hook. You know what you're going out there to get, but it's always, you're not going to know until you reel that in, and it's same thing. You have a destination you want to get to, you have a point of destination. Like Mom and I just did this trip. We knew where we wanted to end up, but there was so much in between that could have happened before we even got there. So that's part of being the adventure, and exploring between here and there. Yes, the chat does go fast. And I was saying that before about how sometimes I call them stories, because in our little cell phone window, if it's a couple sentences, it just looks long and it goes so fast.
Oh, I know.
Ohio, no. Somebody would have to get a hold of Mike Turner or Lynn or Lee Reed. They all have his information as far as I know.
Yeah.
What's going on?
There was a Dan Creation had a situation going on, and somebody else is trying to get in touch with him. So hoping all is well there.
Yeah. Best wishes for Dan.
So we got Rex Blocker in the house. Andrew
Rex.
D. Andrew D. I've heard that name somewhere before.
He is the taller, slightly uglier version of me. That is my little brother. Wait, my younger brother. I can't say little brother because he's like 5 inches taller than me. So, yeah, it's bad. It's bad when you're 6'1" and you're still the shortest man in the family. It's rough. It is rough, let me tell you.
My kids are ranging around 6. Well, one of my children are 6. He's 6'4".
Yeah,
at least 6'4". Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I feel your pain. I do. I feel your pain. So we went over the Explorer part of the channel. Now, how about the fishing part? Because it seems like in a very short amount of time, and really that's what made me want to ask you to come on the show. It is, to me, it's the perfect story. And P City, yes, it is possible. Not by much, but it is possible. I assure you of that. That ain't saying much for me either, though. Trust me. Anyway, so the story I love is that starting off from a beginner, just not catching. You had the heart. You stuck with it. And I remember the look on your face when you finally got that first one. And then before you know it, you start getting on fish. So why don't you give us kind of a quick little rundown of your journey from beginner to where you are now with the catfish?
It's funny, and somebody, and I don't know if it was Stan or somebody had mentioned about how I had been I think it was Stan who talked about how I had been leading up to this whole thing. It's been building and building. And I didn't necessarily do that intentionally. What I wanted to do was just show that, because, everybody, there's some people that say, oh, catfishing is easy and anybody can catch a fish and whatever. And I'm showing that, not for everybody. It's not easy. Learning all these things is not easy. And, but everybody can throw up, their big fish and all these great catches. But how many people are really showing their failures, along the way? So to me, I was just like, this is, I just want to keep it real. This is where I'm at. I know nothing. And, this is where I'm going with it. And so, and they made great videos. I mean, I'm trying to cast and kaplunk, but yeah, it's I didn't know that we did. I didn't know they had catfishing down here, and we certainly didn't have it up in New Hampshire. I mean,
Mhm.
we horn pouting. I guess people did horn pouting, but they were more of a nuisance fish. It's not something that we went after in New Hampshire. So, but for 3 years there was talk about me going to South Dakota constantly. South Dakota,
Okay.
and we're going to go catfishing. Well, that never happened. Things happened, change of life happened. I decided to pack up everything I owned in my little SUV, and I moved down here to South Carolina.
Yeah.
And then I met Mike Costello. So he's been a great friend. Obviously, I'm sporting those goods here. But he meeting him, and then he was just starting his YouTube at the same time. I was like, oh, I have a YouTube, and he's really the one that brought me into this. I wouldn't have even met half of you people if it wasn't for starting that whole thing. But, so with getting onto the catfish, and so then meeting all of you and getting involved with his live streams, and then continually growing with all of you and supporting everybody. And then that led to my first fishing video, because I wanted to be a part of the fishing community. So I did my first fishing video, which in the end I ended up taking down. But it was really because I wanted to have a fishing video and be a part of the fishing community. So
well, you had a fishing video, it just wasn't a catching video. But that's okay. That's what makes it real.
I left I left all the bloopers up, but I had I had caught the stuffed fish, and he was eating well because he's stuffed, and I had a sink away from the sink and all this good stuff. But so it started kind of with that, and then eventually it just came into like listening to all of you, and then I had the opportunity from JV Outdoors, who was basically gifting me a custom built rod. At the time, it was supposed to be within 2 weeks. It's been a few months since then, but I do believe he is still working on that. So
perfection takes time.
What's that?
Perfection takes time.
Yeah, I think he's doing. I think he's working on a test rod first, and then it'll come into. But we were waiting. I think he had some things that were took a long time to ship. So, but all in process, so all those things were happening. And then before you knew it, I decided, okay, I'm going to buy a rod. So I bought my first ugly stick catfishing rod. And then I got to go out the next day and with Michael and put my line in the water. Well, and then he was showing me how to, do the knots and hook things up. And of course, I learned from all of you guys as well. I got a lot of tips and a lot of comments from people. And then I got the box of goodies from Avid, and the community got together with that. So it just rolled on in. And before you knew it, I'm out there and I'm trying to fish. So the difference with me was I was fishing during the day. I didn't have the option of really going out there at night, especially by myself. Gotcha. It's dangerous down here.
Of course.
So the day fishing thing started, and I was trying to just get myself out there as much as I possibly could. So now I'm not at the archery range doing that anymore. Now it's just, it's my day off. I'm going to go fishing. And I'm going to practice casting. And it was horrid. I had those videos up. My knots, I didn't tie them properly. In fact, I cast it out one time, and the whole leader line and everything just slipped right off. My knot slipped, everything went out. I was like, what a hot mess that was.
It happens to us all. I don't care how long you've been doing this. We all do it too. Trust me.
Not every knot is going to be perfect, and it's just not. So, but then that's what I spent the time doing. I thought, okay, now I'm going to learn how to snell my hook. And, I was driving to the fish. My first time, I'm like all excited. I got my snelled hook or whatever. I'm going to go fishing. And I'm driving there, and I'm like, I didn't snell that hook. I just put some weird knot on the top of the thing. I'm like, I didn't snell that. So it's all in my head, and I'm like, sure enough, I get there. I'm like, this is crap. So I sat there, I redid it, and I was Googling stuff. And so and so I just kept going. I just kept going, and I kept practicing until it was hard for me because I wasn't used to casting the weight. So throwing the weight out there for me was really hard. And learning all of that, and then trying to figure out, I did. It's true. I made it more complicated probably than it needed to be, but
I think all of us suffer from that, and I personally think that sometimes if you let it happen, the more experience you have, sometimes the more you tend to complicate things.
Yeah,
you know, and it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't.
And I'm a type of person that I try to investigate anything that I'm getting into. I really try to investigate. And my big thing was trying to find a place to go fishing. That was one of the biggest challenges here. We had the floods. It was really cold. You know, it was really windy. Now, I mean, cripes, we've got boaters everywhere. There's no banks here to fish off. So the one spot, which Michael had actually found, is really the only place that I found that you can go on the bank where there's hardly ever anybody down there. And I've been down there on a Sunday, even, you know, just recently, and there weren't anybody down there. So, but yes. And then, so finally being down there, and I caught my first fish, and it was really anticlimactic. After all of that, I was just kind of like, okay, yay, I caught a fish. And then I caught another one. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm on my third fish that day. And I had 2 more bites or so after that. I didn't get those 2. But it was just like, oh my God, I can't. So it wasn't until like after the fact, I'm like, oh my God, I actually caught one.
Yep, but there you go.
The next time I went out, really only my 4th fish on the line was my personal best, a 10.5 pounder. And that was like true excitement for me.
Yeah, I think and you know, I think the scale was wrong because that had to be at least a 30 pounder. That thing was.
That was 30 pound all day.
You just got to hold it. Way out.
Yeah. That's actually, there is a trick to. There is a, you know, and I was talking with Tim about this.
You hang on their tail a little bit while you hold the scale up, and you just pull on their tail a little bit.
Well, you know, even a picture of a fish, it's all real. It's all subjective to the person that's holding it. I'm 6'3", 400 plus pounds.
That's true.
You know, Creole's big guy, his brother. We could have a 30, 40 pounder, and it looks like it's 15 pounds.
Yeah.
Right. But there is ways.
It's true.
There is ways to hold.
It's funny that you're saying that, because in the photo where I'm holding the fish up, and it's down the length of my body, it looks like it's about half the length of my body.
Yeah.
So, DMV, funny that you mentioned that, because I did get my stickers.
Oh, there we go.
I don't know.
I saw somebody. I'm trying to go back and chat. It's the second time he asked me this question. So, Sunfish Assassin, no, I have not been able to go to that spot just yet. I'm still waiting to get with the guy to get the key to the gate to go in. But it is a spot that I have not fished in. I actually went back and I remember the last time I was there. It has been 23 years since I have been in there in a boat fishing. So I'm pretty excited to get back in there and go fish. Been a long time.
I saw that, Mark. I saw your post. That was an awesome photo of that too, actually. Very creative.
Yeah, I was gonna bring out my my little letter that I got from DMV today. So DMV, much respect for him. You talk about a person.
I didn't get a letter with mine, but I got a cool envelope.
I didn't get the letter. I didn't get. I got to correct that. The envelope. There was no personalized letter. But much respect for DMV. You know, puts the time in, gets out to the spots. If he's from the bank, and all that gear that he brings, if he's not feeling it there at that spot, packs that all up for us. Goes to that next spot. I'll tell you the effort that it takes to pack all that gear up and you know, trek to that next spot.
Yeah.
Much respect for DMV, and of course you're more than more than able to share your merch link out there. Definitely,
Awesome.
we got no problem with sharing the links. We want people to, we want this catfish family to grow, and anything we can do to support anybody. That's part of why Creole and I started doing this together. To us, it's all about that journey, and that's why Lorianne was a perfect guest to have on tonight. Whether you're going from just starting out and moving up to that next level, or you've already been catching fish and you're catching decent catfish, but you want to go up to that next level, there's always a journey. There's always growth. There's always, you know, and that's what we wanted to try to showcase on our show, is that, you know, there's always something to learn. There's always something to be excited about.
And I'll tell you, it really wasn't easy. I mean, it was a struggle. Every time I'd be like, you know, and do it. I had to really think about, like, why am I doing this? Well, because it was a quest. Like, I just felt like I have to do this. And, but to spend the time, like, now I still can't catch my own bait. I still haven't been able to do it. You know, I'm still, you know, I gotta figure that out. So I have to try the chicken or try whatever I had to do. Then I finally got myself to the bait shop, and then I found the American shad, frozen shad, which is what I caught my fish on. But and I said, oh my God, I don't want to do an eel, but I did the eel. Thank God it wasn't alive.
No. Looks too much like a snake. Nope.
It is nasty. It's just, even dead, it's nasty. But
ain't happening.
You know, but then, yeah, you're talking about that. You get to a spot, and then, like, there were spots. It was either flooded or too many people, and then you got to move. Now you got to go somewhere else, and or you get snagged up, or you know, whatever it is, and it's just like, okay. No trip is ever gonna go the way you have it in your mind when you leave the house. Right.
No trip is ever gonna go that way. I get worried when everything just goes my way. Like the first hour, I'm like, uh-oh. Okay.
When is the shoe dropping? When is it gonna happen?
When is it gonna?
When am I gonna break a rib?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Right, Stan.
Yeah.
Man.
Man. Yeah. Just ask anybody. I've fished. You know, it's coming up on 5 decades of fishing for me, for whatever type of fish, and I still have knots in the line. I can still talk to Epic Catfish for 4 hours about different things fishing.
Absolutely.
You know, that's after 5 decades of fishing. So, you know, there's always. And I still
fishing, just like a lot of other things, it does change. There's new techniques, there's new devices, and everybody's like getting into this techie stuff now. When I used to go fishing when I was younger and take my kids, and we didn't do all this, you know, we didn't have fish finders. We didn't, well, maybe there were, but that's not stuff. We went with a worm and a hook.
Yep.
You know?
Same here. That's how I grew up. Just go out on the nearest bank we can find, you know, a little cork and a worm, and you'll try to get on some brim or something. I think all of us grew up fishing that way. It's just where it took us from there. That's where everybody is different, and that's where everybody's experiences are different. We all started out the same, I believe, but we all do something different now. Even though all of us fish for the same fish, we're all doing it different. You know, we're all in different areas, different conditions, you know,
different areas.
It's so much different.
Perfect point, because I think it gets brought up a lot about that, you know, like, and it can be intimidating when you're watching everybody catching these 60-pound flatheads or 60-pound this or 60-pound that. You know, for one, it's difficult for us to get to spots to even have that opportunity from the bank.
That's right.
Or any bank, if there is even such a thing here. You know, we don't necessarily have the rivers like in New Hampshire or brooks that you can catch the bait. They're ponds here. They're like mostly man-made stuff. But yeah, the conditions are different, and the size of the fish, I don't know. Although I just saw, and I think I posted it on my Facebook a while back, somebody posted in one of the groups, South Carolina, 100-pound catfish. Twice they caught 2 100-pound catfish. So they're here, they're out there somewhere, but you know, But, you know, as I mentioned, I was talking earlier to a good friend of mine and who may be listening, but we're talking about how, you know, you start out and you catch the 10-pound fish and that's all, ooh, great, you know, and then, okay, so now if I catch a 5-pound fish, it's just kind of like goes by the wayside, you know, okay. So you catch the 20-pound fish. Now you catch a 60-pound fish. Everybody's going to be expecting you to be catching 60-pound fish. So then what happens when you're not catching 60-pound fish anymore? Then what happens, you know? Does everybody get bored?
Okay, I will argue your point there, okay? And I will, okay. And because I'm speaking from my personal experience. We started our trophy catfishing adventure about 2 years ago. My brother and I and my wife really dug, and my son dug into this and said, okay, we're going to do this. Well, it didn't take us that long because we have great places we fish. We started getting on 40, 50-pound fish pretty regular, you know, and we still do. But I will tell you, you get into some numbers of 5, 10-pound fish, especially when we purposely go catch some eaters for Dad to put in the freezer. We'll go with some lighter tackle and get on some 5-pounders. It is just as much fun. Now it's a different kind of fun. Well, I will say that it's but look, let me tell you something.
Greenwell's comment right there is perfect. You know, it's that rod bends, and like you're saying there, you can get 5-pound fish or whatever, but if it's bam, 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 and you just keep getting the bites, that's exciting.
It is. So don't ever worry about getting to the point where you're just bored catching 5-pounders. That's you're gonna have your fun. Trust me.
Let me tell you, I don't know.
I'm not saying that we would get bored doing that, but it's the expectations of YouTube's and those that are into the subscriptions and the subscribers. It's the subscribers or what I would perceive as their expectations. They're getting used to seeing you catch these big fish. That's what they're watching for, you know.
Nope. I disagree with you. They're not watching for that. They're watching for you.
Yep.
Anybody
a perfect example. How many people does Chunky have in his lives every time he goes fishing? And it does not matter if that dude catches a fish or not.
That's true. He's got the personality definitely for that.
That's right. And I've said this so many times. If you look in that camera and be real, you show the world who you are and what you do. It may take a while, but your audience will find you.
Yeah.
And you're going to have those people that will watch you regardless if you're putting big fish on the bank or not.
Yeah.
They will be there.
And it is funny because... Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Laura. I was going to say, there's a group that just want to see the fish, and there's the channels out there for that they're going to do is show you, they're going to show you big fish. They may not show you that they went out for 3 straight days to catch those big fish.
Right.
But, you're going to see the big fish, and there's the channels out there for that. If you set and say, I'm going to go live, I'll throw myself out as an example. I say we started doing. I got to give it to Dan's Creations. He's the one that came up with the Stan Day Live name for the Sunday morning. But I said we're going to do it every Sunday morning, and we've gone out, rain, sleet, snow, every Sunday morning. Well, for about the past 3 months or more, the worst day of the week for fishing has been Sunday mornings, but we're still out there. Sometimes we catch fish, sometimes we don't. Right. I think it was a week or 2 ago, I caught the 15-pounder, and I was woo!
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's true, because we look forward to that now Sunday morning, and
that's right.
Yeah.
I try to come in with the coffee, but because I was on my epic quest, I couldn't stay because I had to get myself out the door. But
I can't tell you all. I really can't without getting emotional what that means to me. It's
just that
the support, I keep saying it. 6 months ago, last October, last summer, I'm just a dude sitting on the couch, and now I've got people that if I don't show up on Sunday morning, I'm getting texts, I'm getting messages. It's just mind blowing, but it's real. It's you know, I keep thinking I'm in a dream and I'm gonna wake up but we got somebody in the back of the house right now.
Is it that time, Stan? Is it time? There. Is it time for our epic tip of the week?
It very well could be. So we're gonna bring them up in.
Yeah, it's been 15 minutes already. Look at us. We just flew through that.
Yeah, when you have a great guest, like you, Lori, that's you know, I'd say it like with Sharina, the excitement that she has, the excitement that you have and the dedication and not giving up and wanting to, that's just it's contagious. People are in that struggle with you. That's why I think we like it so much. Is we were there remembering, man, I remember when I wanted to catch that fish and I was going through that same struggle, and we're right there with you.
And I just want to say real quick before Epic, and I apologize, but I appreciate everybody so much for just supporting me and following me along in the journey. I do. I appreciate everybody cheering me on through that whole process.
Hey, absolutely. Hey, look, you're in all the lives. You watch all everybody's videos. You've supported all of us up on screen in chat. You're always there with us. So Epic, what is going on, brother?
I'll tell you what my tip of the week's going to be.
All right, what you got?
Tip of the week is, if you want action, go shallow. Go with current. I'm not talking about necessarily along the bank. I'm just saying I have fished some fairly shallow tributaries just for an hour or two in the last week, and they're on fire. Channel cats are coming out of main rivers and going up, and I'm not saying they're going very far, but the sun is warming the water. We've got bait fish activity, and we've got channel cat activity. Now, I'll be right back. Normally fish blue cat waters, because I've been fishing fairly close to the house. We've got decent channel cat waters. So, they're on fire enough. We're eating live chubs that long. And that big around them this afternoon. They were just pounding them down. So that, and really use your natural fresh baits if you can. If you've only got chicken, use that. But if you have a main river with a tributary fairly close to it, this is a good time to do it.
Awesome. I like that, because I know I'm getting excited right now because the river has finally decided to crest over the past few days, and it's going to start dropping in a few days. And I know that water is going to start coming out of them little bayous into that river. And boy, that's my favorite time to be out there.
It is a good time to be out there because it takes the population that's been split and spread out, and it starts to concentrate them back in the main river.
Mm-hmm. So Epic, I have a question for you, but it actually pertains to Miss Lori's fishing spot that she loves to fish in. I noticed her bank spot that she loves to fish in. I don't know what the water depth is.
Really I'm just gonna say it's really Michael's spot. I stole it.
Okay, well that's but you remember that comment I made to you about those bridge pilings, about trying to get a bait behind those bridge pilings. Epic, is there a such thing as a bad time of year to fish behind a bridge piling in the scour hole?
Usually, anytime you can fish behind a bridge piling, and if there is a scour hole, sometimes there's not. Sometimes it's more of a rubble pile. Sometimes more of whatever. Sometimes you'll mark fish in there, and they won't be catfish. They'll be Asian carp and drum and all kinds of stuff. But
gotcha.
One of the better times to fish behind a bridge piling, to me, is higher water or stable high water. Not really rising water or any of that stuff. And it seems to work well for channel cats, flatheads, and blues. And believe it or not, the active position is the front of a bridge pier or bridge piling. A lot of people fish behind them. I like to fish in front of them, especially, and it depends on how much current is there. If there's too much current and too much crap buildup, I'll maybe tuck in to the side of it. But you are going to see Heroes and I fish a very large, very old wooden bridge, and we do catch a lot of flatheads on that particular bridge. And there's other bridges I've fished in my life that have done pretty well. Matter of fact,
Gotcha.
I'd say probably 3/4 of the ones that, if you choose to fish there, because you've marked fish, it's got the right current, you usually do pretty good on it. Yeah.
So there you go. That might be a little advice for you, Laura, to kind of get, because it's whether we're in the boat, on the bank, it doesn't matter where you're at. And I think y'all that fish from the bank, is especially important to just absolutely pick that spot apart. Just finding that sweet spot to put that bait, and not just waiting for a fish to just happen by, but really, really picking it apart.
Yeah.
Throw something out there. After 30 minutes, you don't get nothing. Hey, reel it in. Let's try a different spot. Let's try here. Let's try there. Really pick it apart.
Well, it's interesting because the last time I was out there at that spot with Michael, he had mentioned that about the pilings, and I don't know if he had just heard it where he heard it from or whatever, but he was talking about that in finding those pockets. But in that particular spot, there is actually, and it was, and it may not always be, but there was a particular spot. There was a bunch of trees or a tree line kind of, and that current runs just enough that even if you didn't intend to, your line does kind of tend to go that way. And that's where I was hitting those fish, and that's where Michael was hitting those fish. It was like, and it was actually kind of closer into the bank, more so than out in the middle or out and by the pilings. But so yeah, you're right. Finding that spot that you keep getting them in, it was interesting. But I think the big one that I did get ended up being out, not as close to the pilings, but I was close. I was out more towards the middle of the river.
Yeah,
closer
and you see, that's what's cool, because as different a conditions and places as I fish than what you fish. But when I took my little nephew out with us, that last video that I made, I was doing the exact same thing that you just described doing to find fish. I was chunking my rod out in the current because I had my boat beached on the bank. I would chunk it out in the current, and the current would sweep it against the ledge, against that bank. And as soon as that bait would settle down, they would nail it. See, same, very different situations. Yeah. But you and I did the same thing and got on fish. See,
got on fish.
There you go.
And the other tip with that, Lori, is remember what kind of weather it was. As you start going, a lot of people keep a journal even of when it happened, what the water conditions were, the temperatures, because there's a reason that fish was there at that time.
See, that's where it gets a little bit too deep for me, because at the time I only had one day off, and then I'd have to go back to work, and then I had one day off. I don't have time to say, is the tide high? Is the tide low? Is it going to rain? What's the barometric pressure? What's the water temperature? I just
got to go when you got to go.
I'm going to go when that's exactly
that's
right.
Me.
So that's me. This will make it easier for it, Lori. Just remember one thing. Catfish are catfish. They act the same, generally speaking, no matter where they live. Whether their address is Texas or whether it's Wisconsin. They're all that simple creature, and they all have that their own little script that they follow. The only time that they really change any sort of tactic is if the body of water is so much different than their natural habitat. Then they have no choice. So when Stan says he's catching them in between a pylon on a bridge and the bank, and I say I'm catching them between a pylon and maybe of a bridge and the bank, and so is Creole, that is because of the current. It doesn't have to do to the bridge. It's that the bridge modifies that current and to attract feeding catfish. And that's a thing. I mean, it really is.
Awesome.
Yeah. But will that change, as it gets warmer And like you say, now are they coming up from the bottom? Is that going to change where now they're not going to be so close in the shallows? They're going to, I hear a lot of people talk about shallow versus deep.
But it does, but you'll figure that out. You'll say, why did I catch a bunch of them in May in shallow water between the, the shore and the pylon, and now I can't catch any. So where are they? So maybe you have to range out a little bit more. Maybe you have to move your baits. Maybe you have to go to a totally different area and say, hey, but that's what takes years. That's what these guys are talking about. How does a guy go catch big fish consistently? Well, that's because he's already been through the not catching big fish consistently for years and paying attention and going about his business. And really, if you're going to catch big fish, it's got to be important to you. Otherwise, go fishing. That's it. I mean,
go fishing. That's it.
Go fishing. Just go.
So don't ever feel like you gotta live up to anything anybody else does. Do what you want to do. If landing the Moby Dick of catfish is what excites you, then go for it. But if it doesn't, get out there and fish. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great.
For me,
I spent my last 3 trips catching fish under 7 pounds, which would surprise people. I even filmed some of it. I don't know if I'll come out with it, but I even filmed some of it.
I mean, I think for me, because I've only been down here, again, living in New Hampshire my whole life, I've been down here in South Carolina for almost 6 months now. So it's only 6 months, and I'm still acclimating to the area and all the different species and all the different things, So there's a lot here. And I just don't know, but part of that and the exploring, again, I'm out exploring. Either I'm looking for a new fishing spot. I want to find my own fishing spots, and so I'm always out adventuring and checking that stuff out. I just have to be safe about it too.
All right.
Yeah.
So
when I was
here's another part of my I don't know what you guys call it, tip of the week or whatever. So I went down to this small tributary that comes off of another small river. And I was fully expecting to be able to contact some big pike up here. So I brought chubs. I mean, these things were like that long and like that big around. So the first one I throw takes about 3 minutes, gets a hit. Man, that seemed a lot like a channel cat. And sure enough, I didn't catch the fish, but I've channel catfished with live bait and cut enough. I recognized the bite marks on it. I said, oh, so it's time to switch over to some smaller baits and some cut baits. And I never did contact any pike because when it's overcast, a lot of times pike like to sun themselves in those shallow tributaries, even creeks that come in, even if the sun, and probably more so this time of year when the sun is shining. Well, there wasn't any sun today, but there was channel cats just going mad everywhere. So I quickly changed my tactics around to take advantage of what was there. That's all I caught was channel cats. And I had live chubs, even this small out. I had them big. I had big river shiners, all that stuff. Didn't contact a single pike. Now, last weekend, I didn't. They weren't in that slower water, but I did catch about a 36-inch pike. He was ginormous. But so I was expecting to do that. Caught channel cats, but just change your stuff around. Do what learn what you're dealing with, and then go that direction. Because I mean, if you go someplace and you catch a big fish by accident, that doesn't mean you're always going to catch them by accident using small baits or chicken or whatever. You can literally say, hey, I got an opportunity to catch big fish in this spot, so let me change to baits that are more suited to big fish. I went the other way. I was using big fish baits, and I went, okay, we need to make this acceptable for these 5, 6, 7 pound channel cats.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say before, Lori, is you go fishing when you can go fishing.
I have no choice. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Exactly. A lot of us don't. But what you want to do is remember what conditions it was for that spot. And as you get familiar with when you're catching fish at different spots, since you have such a limited time, you'll know which spot to pick based on what information you have. The water's high, the water's low, They're going to be in deeper water, shallower water. The sun was out. It wasn't out. All those things, whatever. After a while, you'll start noticing a pattern of when you catch fish at what spot. Some spots are good in the morning, some are good in the afternoon.
And that
things
comes,
like that.
with all of you who have been doing it on a regular basis, if I stick with it, and then that'll probably be more something that'll come. I'm so blessed that I have, like, again, we were talking about the archery, and they actually reached out to me, which I thought you were talking about how people miss you, Stan, if you're not there on Sundays. And the archery range, the secretary, she actually texts me, where have you been? Where are you? We all miss you. And so they really are calling me back to the archery range. So, again, having limited time, I'm not retired. I work and I have to sleep and I have to, I'm trying to support everybody, here. So limited time, but yeah. So between trying to get to the archery range now and maybe get out and do some of the pond bait fishing, it'll all come.
Oh yeah, it'll get there.
Hey, Laura, I'd like to clear one thing up. That thing where everybody says, well, plus this, all those conditions we all talk about. We don't just say, hey, I'm not going fishing unless it's like that. It's just that we realize it when we're there and we get that much more excited about it. And we may tailor the way or where we fish or how we fish based on that. We don't just, I don't know anybody that is on the couch a minute and says, man, here comes the low pressure, here comes the storm. Let's go out and fish right now. We're usually already there. We just get to talk about it mostly in retro. We say, hey, it was awesome when that happened over there. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you stories of right before getting, just absolutely drowned by, just huge amounts of rain and big storms and big fronts where we fish time after time after time after time. But how's a guy like me going to predict that from, being in his house and drive 3 hours somewhere to go fishing? You just can't be done.
Well, and that's what happened with me. I ended up driving. I drove. I wanted to go up and check out Lake Marion or Santee or something, and I'm driving almost two hours. It's crazy. I'm just like, why can't I just fish right here? But it's very, very difficult here unless I move over to ocean fishing, which is a possibility. I may try that with the ocean fishing. So
you'll find it. It's very similar to catfishing. You go surf fishing or off a dock. A lot of times you're using a bottom rig just like you would for catfish. You're setting it up. You may have to change the size of your hooks and things like that. But you're using cut bait a lot of time for saltwater.
Yeah, I've done the deep sea fishing. I've done. I got the pollock, haddock. Unfortunately, some of the sharks were a nuisance a lot of the times. I forget what you call those little sharks, but I've done the deep sea. I found it boring. It's kind of like catfishing. I kind of find it boring. You throw the rod out and you're waiting. It's not like bass fishing or trout fishing. So I don't know.
All right. Well, that's the show tonight. Lori, we'll see you later.
All done.
It's like, cut. Oh, God.
Laura, just remember one thing. Fishing is a lot in your mind. Okay, so it's not that you're necessarily hands busy. It's not that you're whatever. You're constantly thinking about that fish that's coming that next corner, that fish that's going to contact your bait, that fish that's going to pull that rod down into the water and slap the motor with it, that fish that when you get it up to the everybody in the boat gasps and wonders how this is even going to fit in the net. I mean, I've literally had to settle customers down before because I'm like, now when this hits the surface, I don't want you to get all nervous because what happens is they can't see the fish, and then it comes up after 35 minutes and expecting something that's 3 feet long and it's 5 feet long, and then they have to zoom out, and the first thing they do is pull up real hard and break the line. So I have to calm my customers down and say, hey, this is going to be a lot bigger than you think. Just don't be surprised by it. Leave your hands the same way. Don't get, and I say this to them all the time, don't get tired and horse these fish, because you will break this line, even though it's fish test. And they're like, oh man, I'm glad you said that, because I was getting tired about 10 minutes ago. I was about ready to really start. I said, no, it's time to play this fish. So, the only people that have the luxury to really do that, what you were talking about before, that's put everything together and decide whether to go or not, them are the people that live 3 blocks from the boat. They decide whether they're going to stay in the air conditioning or they're going to go fishing. That's it. We're at the mercy of everything.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be the thing down here too, is it's going to be so hot. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm ginger. So yeah, I'm a little susceptible to the heat.
Well, when it's that hot, they don't bite that great during the day anyway. So you're going to go out in the evening when the sun's going down. You're going to stay a little bit past dark, and then that's it. It'll be beautiful.
Maybe a little bit past dark. I might be able to.
And there's a person that can relate a little bit to the ginger, fishing with the Chad. He was saying that Dee used to think the same thing until last year, and some of the techniques that he now uses, she enjoys it because it keeps her busy doing different things. So again, different thing out in the boat, but there's different things to do from the bank too. So
yeah, and it's true. I mean, I spent I'm doing the old watching the rod, and that's why I haven't been going live. Like, I'm not doing the live thing while I'm fishing because it's too much for me, because I like to interact with everybody that's on the screen. So to do that, I just can't. And I want to enjoy the fishing. I want to be able to videotape the stuff that's happening, because I like to do that. I like to document just like everything I do. And I document for my kids, my family, my grandchildren, whatever. But, it's just too much. So I like to focus on it. But I do find even if I put the damn bell on there that everybody hates, and I'm like, I still am watching the rod. I'm like, is it moving because of the current, or is it moving because I've got whatever? I do enjoy that, but it's just, and it's funny because now people at work asking me about it. Did you go fishing? Are you thinking about fishing? They walk by me at the desk. You're thinking about fishing, aren't you? And I'm like, I am. It's bad.
Hey, Laura, don't feel bad. It took Sean and I 6 months. It took us 6 months before we could actually get serious about filming, because we're so much on. It's so much of the fish. It took so long to take that time film something. And we still do it correctly. A lot of times, film's still in the bag, and the camera's still in the bag. I'm still, here, looking there, doing this, doing that, and we missed a lot of stuff. We kind of made a pact this year, because we're going to be able to get to go fewer times. We got to make every time count. Yeah.
Well, for this particular thing, it was a big deal to me to have the camera out all the time, because it was part of that epic quest, and I did want to catch it. I wasn't going live with it or whatever. No, but if I caught something, and my favorite part was that I got the bend of the rod, and I was able to zoom in and use it as a clip in the thing. And, but that was the whole point. So, and now it's just having the camera there. If I get a 15-pound fish, I want to share it. So if I get a 5-pound fish, I want to share it. Hey, look, I'm out here fishing. This is what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
I think that's the whole point of YouTube, sharing.
Yep. All right.
Hey,
one
JP3, you're going to have to drop your email again.
Before I leave. What's that?
Well, I was telling JP3 to drop his email again.
Oh.
All
right.
Yeah, you're good.
So I'm going to get out of here after this last tip. Slip floats are kind of a thing, because these channel cats and probably blues, I would imagine, that are moving shallow, you can cover a little bit more water. I was actually casting slip floats upstream and letting them lightly bounce downstream, and they were contacting fish. So don't be afraid to use slip floats, unless, of course, your current is too heavy. Then slip floats are nothing but a pain in the butt. But like in the situation you're in, Laura, especially if you're a hands-on fisherman, get those slip floats out, set that depth so it just dribbles along the bottom, throw upstream, and reel it in downstream. So it's almost like bass fishing. So you wouldn't have to be bored. So I mean, and they'll take those things down with authority. I mean, I had some pretty big slip floats on, and 4-pound channel cats were just smoking that thing. So all right, thanks for having me on. I'm going to watch the rest of the show. Stan Creole and Laura, good to meet you in kind of person here.
Yes.
Well,
thank you for the
Tim,
tips.
as always, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate you taking the time every week to come up and not only here but on Muskrat show.
Yeah,
you did,
that's right.
Kelly's show. What's in your tackle box? We appreciate it. We all no matter what level we're at and where we're trying to go to, we definitely learn something every time, and definitely appreciate the time that you do passing out the knowledge. So thank you very much.
I love help watching the lives, because believe it or not, every once in a while I even find something dry.
Right.
And everybody, Epic's link is out in the description. Same as Creole's link is out there, and Laura the Explora with an X is her link is out in the description. So definitely check those out if you're not sub to them yet, and give them a check. Okay.
All right. I'm out. See ya.
All right. Thanks so much. We're probably not going to be staying too much longer, because for those that don't know, you've probably been under a rock or something the past few days, but there's an event tomorrow morning that my broadcasting brother, Mr. Creole Catfishing, hashtag Team Creole, since day one, but got a 1v1 tomorrow against Mr. Ryan Bortz. There's been some talk on this, a little rematch situation.
Little bit of smack talk. Just a little bit of smack talk.
Now that's going to be on Catfish and Crappie's channel tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, 8 Central. We are going to lay the smack down on a kayaker. Again. Again.
There's no smack talking on YouTube.
Yeah, no.
I don't know what channel you're watching. Man, we've been smack talking in YouTube. We've been smack talking on Facebook. We've been smack talking in Messenger. Hey, but look, in all seriousness, Ryan, when I did not know him when he challenged me the first time, had a great time fishing with him. He has since become a very good friend of mine. I respect him to here. I have the utmost of respect for that man. I don't call him the hardest working man in fishing for nothing. That guy does not quit. So I have got my hands full in the morning, but we are well prepared. We got a good plan. We gonna be bumping live out the back of the boat, and if the fish cooperate, y'all gonna see something in the morning. I promise.
And I got to go with you with the. I think the kayak catfishing. That Stan 3 does that. He's in the tournaments. Same with Ryan Bortz and Dan Green Machine Outdoors. These are some hardcore. They are the hardest working in, because it's nothing for them to go out. We all saw Stan 3 this year bust through ice to bring the kayak out into the.
That's right.
We've seen them out in snow. You've seen Ryan Bortz. He fished. That was just a small part of the day the last time that he fished with you, paddling all day long, and then some. So they, I'll give it to all of the, kayak catfishing. The most of them are just dedicated beyond belief.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They just want that next fish.
And we've talked so much smack over the past week or so with this challenge, but that's in all seriousness, between Ryan and I, you talk about two people that could not respect each other more than what me and Ryan do. I mean, it's almost sad, because this may be the closest I'll ever get to actually fishing with him in person. But you know what? Hey, I'll take it. You know, win or lose, I'm gonna have fun. Hopefully, I'm having fun and winning. But hey,
it's really an awesome thing that we're all able to do this like this and be. It is. I mean, I'm just again going back into the day. You know, they didn't really. You didn't think about doing these sort of things and getting live with people and.
No, and I don't know if the Chad is still in here. Good friend of mine, got a lot of love and respect for Mr. Chad. He kind of got a jump start with a lot of us on this, and I'm sure other people have done some other things out there. But as far as I was concerned, within our group, he was kind of the tournament director, kind of behind this thing that got things started with the the couples challenge. Absolutely amazing. I fished with JP3 and his wife and Patriot James and his wife for a little bit, and then Patriot Patty took over for his wife there. We had a blast the first day. Creole was out, and to be able to fish at the same time against people from across the country was just you literally felt like you were there fishing with them.
Yeah, exactly.
And hand it to him too, because to run all of those screens, the chat, and with D popping in there, I mean, incredible. And so kudos, because
it's a lot of work.
Well, thank God D was there to give us a little break every once in a while, and she did give us the warning. She did give us the warning before she jumped off. One time, the first time that happened, I dang near fell off the bank because D was there talking. I turned around, did something. I looked back around, and Chad was on. I nearly just fell off the bank. So
and
D did awesome.
They do make it look so easy, and I'm going to say Paul Metalcats again is another one when he does those big shows like that, and the whiskers and awards and all that. I mean, they're quite elaborate shows, and the time that gets taken to put into that, and then to follow along the chat. Chad and Dee do very well with that, following along with the chat and the donations that come in and watching everybody on screen. So,
well, Creole and I have a hard enough time with just this little bitty show here. So,
I know, right? It's all we can do to throw this together. Man, I'm going to take a nap after this.
But so Chad started out with that, and then the Blue Cat tournament that was this past spring, a little bit earlier in the year, and Mark and taken over with February 13th, I think. That was the weekend I fished with the broken rib. Yeah, oh my God, that was the weekend with the broken rib, the fried out phone, the fished in the ice. Travel emergency. Do not travel. But Dan and I, Dan, God bless him, Green Machine Outdoors. Stan 3 wasn't able to go that weekend. It was originally supposed to be Stan 3, and Dan volunteered to take me out. And even with all that, he showed up, picked me up over here because I don't drive. Picked me up right over here from the house, and we went out and gave it that day. But but just amazing. That was a good time, and then you got Mark that kind of has the one-on-one thing going. Again, kind of a little variation of from the Chad's idea, but just amazing. Same thing. You got two people going against one another. Mark is there, kind of MC and everything, and just amazing stuff. And I said,
tune in for some epic smack talk, if nothing else. I mean, it don't matter if neither one of us catch a fish. We will be talking smack to each other throughout. The rules are exactly the same as the first one. We are going by the 5 biggest fish according to length. So we won't have any weights in this one. Now, if something happens, God willing, I do put a hog in the boat, I'll throw him up on the scale, for everybody to see. But what counts is length, total length of 5 biggest fish.
And for those that don't know about that, with the kayaks, it's almost impossible to get a weight on the fish. So what they would have to do is go over to the bank, get the thing out to get the weight.
Yeah.
What they do on the kayak is they have a bump board, which is basically just a giant folding ruler, and they can put that right across the kayak. Where am I here? They can put it across the kayak, like the one that Stan 3 had to get to do the tournaments was a 60-inch musky board, so it was long enough for some of the fish, because you're talking almost 4 foot long fish, so. They're able to get it up.
50 feet. Mine was 50 feet long all day long.
There you go. That's right.
Now you're getting it. now you got it.
But I see Paula Smith joined us. If y'all ain't with Paula Smith yet, another great channel to go over and check out. She puts some huge 80 plus pound fish up on the boat. Again, the excitement that she has for it, we love that kind of contagious excitement. My good friend Roger, Muskrat Adventures.
Roger,
another
my boy Roger.
Channel.
Well, if anybody in chat has any questions, comments, or anything for our guests, we will start kind of wrapping things up. I still got a few things to do to get ready for tomorrow, believe it or not. And it's fixing to start pouring down rain over here. We're fixing to get some rough weather.
That's why I had to jump off the screen for a minute. We had a thunderstorm rolling through. Yeah. And my little, my wife's little dog, my little Missy, our little Chihuahua, she just does not like thunder. So she somehow came running downstairs and was jumping on my legs, and I'm like, so I had to bring her back up.
Oh.
But
well, guys, this was an awesome show, Laurie. I thank you so much for answering my message, agreeing to come on the show. It was everything I hoped it would be and more. Okay, awesome. I learned a lot about you, and especially with the story of the catfishing, along with all the exploring that you do. I think you're going to show us a lot of really cool stuff on YouTube this year. Like you're giving us a lot to look forward to.
Definitely,
I appreciate that a lot.
And it's kind of like it's that journey. Whether you're exploring a abandoned hotel or you're trying to go out and catch fish, I think we all love that journey. We love that story, that experience, because we all kind of are experiencing the same thing. So you're doing an awesome job with it.
And I knew it was going to be, because most of the community that I'm involved with is the fishing community, the catfishing community, whatever it be. So, I did the haunted, or not haunted, but I did the tour through the castle. And what did I have? Avid, of course, loved that. And that was great. I love that support. And I might have had Avid and Becca, and it was a small group of people, but it was the best time. And and Becca was just ad-libbing through it. And it was really, really a good time. I just loved it. And it was a surprise that people did come in and join in on that. And I got a lot of good comments and feedback. So
good. Very good.
Yeah.
Well,
you never know.
Paula is definitely welcome anytime. She's been up on the show a couple times. Not since Creole and I have done it together, I don't believe. But if those that want to see Paula Smith, I recommend you see Avid and Katie's show this weekend, Sunday night at 9 o'clock on Avid's channel. From the bank, right?
Yep, from the bank.
The bank with Avid and Katie.
Yep.
I think I saw that where I'm number 3 here for your show together, right? Is that right?
Yes. Yep. This is the third episode.
Yep. So, Paula, you're going to be on Avid's show this week. If you want to come in within the next couple weeks after that, you're welcome anytime. Always would be glad to have you. You're like us. We can talk catfish 24/7 pretty much. There's Avid, loves watching that. So if anybody has any other questions,
that's awesome.
Put some prayers out for Dan. I'm not exactly sure what the situation is going on. There were some comments that he had made, and a lot of us are concerned over that. So hope that things get worked out and somebody can get in touch and talk with them. And
Matt,
so
I see Matt's comment. Yeah, Matt, we're fixing to get it here like any minute. Like it's fixing to roll in here. So yeah, we're gonna get it tonight and early in the morning. So yeah.
All right. So we are Dan's need help? Yeah, I think so. So, hey, paint and service by Steve. Sorry, but thank you for coming in right here before the end. We're going to be jumping on out of here. Lorianne, thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Laura.
Hang out with us for just a second. As always, can't thank you all enough for being here. Had 50 people all night long.
Wow.
Awesome.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
You know, bank to boat. We love having y'all here. You mean so much to us. It really, I can't tell you enough. So love y'all. We'll see y'all very soon.
We'll
Y'all
see you
check
down
Y'all check out Creole's one-on-one tomorrow on Catfish and Crappies channel. See y'all later.
Oh.